Stand by. Attention on deck!
Welcome back to another video on the channel, troopers. Today we are going to be watching Disaster at Point Range Geonosis number 2 animated battle map. I don't know what it is, but this showed up in my recommendations a few months ago, and I've just been waiting to watch it because I wanted to react to it. Because I love Star Wars, I love the Clone Wars, the prequels are my favorite era of Star Wars. And the second battle of Geonosis is one of my favorite battles during the Clone Wars. And if we can see what the whole battle plan and stuff was animated or something like that, I actually really wanted to see this. So, yeah. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. The link to the original video will be at the top of the description. So go ahead and check that out after you watch this video. Really appreciate you guys, and let's go ahead and get it in 3, 2, 1, and boom.
1. BBY. The Republic has assembled one of its largest invasion forces to retake the planet, 160,000 strong. Their mission is simple: achieve complete naval domination, land troops, and destroy the CIS's greatest droid-making facility.
Wait. Hopefully he explains it in the video, but that was... You're telling me that was one of the biggest fleets that the Republic was able to muster for Geonosis? Really? Watching it in the Clone Wars did not seem like one of the biggest fleets. It seemed like 2 Venators worth of troops at most. I know they got shot down a lot, but I'm saying... It just did not feel like that big of a fleet, especially I think there was like 2 Jedi generals in their fleets that were not doing anything. I don't know. Let's just go.
The naval campaign will be directed by Admiral Wolf Yularen, a veteran of the Battle of Malastare 13 years earlier. He is an anomaly in the Navy of the Galactic Republic, one of the few non-clone officers to remain in frontline service, as opposed
one of the
to
greatest
transferring
officers
to
in Star
intelligence
Wars
and diplomatic roles. His fleet, the largest he has ever commanded, contains 10 Acclamator-class assault ships. At this stage of the war, the massed ranks of Acclamators seen at the first Battle of Geonosis was avoided in favour of Venator-only fleets, but so large is the invasion force that the Acclamators will have to suffice. He will also have 6 Venators on hand as carriers and to be used for ship-on-ship combat. His flagship, the Resolute, will be the nerve center for the Geonosian campaign. Until the ground war begins, he will be accompanied aboard the Resolute by Jedi General Anakin Skywalker and his second-in-command, Captain Rex. Skywalker and Rex have by this point established themselves as the most successful Jedi clone pairing in the GAR. Rex himself is recognized as one of the very best clone officers the Republic can call upon for such a campaign, being awarded the Jagais earlier in the Clone Wars. Together they will lead the most battle-hardened legion in the clone army, the 501st. 9,200 clones in all. Aboard a neighbouring Venator, High Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi will oversee the entire campaign. He will bring a 7th Sky Corps, 36,000 strong. But for the main assault on the Droid Foundry, he will rely on his...
You mean to tell me that he brought 36,212 clone troopers, but on the ground it looked like at most 200, not even 200, about 100 clone troopers? What the hell happened to the other bajillion thousand, bro? What the hell?
His elite 212th Attack Battalion. His second-in-command and the highest-ranking clone officer in the invasion force is Marshal Commander Cody. Loyal, dependable, and only a year into the war has cemented his place as one of the Republic's most competent commanders. It is due to these factors that Kenobi will trust Cody with complete oversight for the 7th Sky Corps, as well as often turning to him for advice on the Geonosian campaign as a whole. There are other familiar faces joining the invasion force. Senior Jedi General Luminara Unduli and Marshal Commander Gree will land away from the main force, only joining them once the path to the Foundry is cleared.
See, that part right there, so my suspicion was correct. Why the hell were they basically at a holding pattern, just waiting for the first initial assault to be over? If they joined in on the assault, probably not that many of Kenobi's and Anakin's forces would have died if they just joined in. Like, what the hell?
The most unique infantry unit present is Commander Jet's Special Operations Battalion,
Yup.
a subunit from the elite Special Operations Brigade. His
Goated
troops have the
unit.
most diverse mix of experience of any clones in the
Goated
task force.
goated
Saboteurs, spies, and assassins. The Spec Ops troopers will be on hand to provide the expertise throughout the campaign. Commander Jet himself is experienced with all forms of tactical command, and is known by his fellow commanders as a tough fighter and competent strategist. For Geonosis, Jet will report to and fight alongside Jedi General Ki-Adi-Mundi.
So at this point in time, Ki-Adi-Mundi was not in charge of the Galactic Marines yet. Okay. Anyways, going back to Commander Jet and his clone troopers, they were some of the most unique clone troopers ever to be seen in the prequels. And yet we only get one episode with them. Like, they should have shown up at least a few more times throughout the entirety of the series. Like, hell, even their action figures were so sought out after. I think to this day, if you can find Commander Jet's little action figure, if you're lucky, he'd be like $50 for a $6 action figure back in the early 2000s. $50 minimum nowadays. Luckily, back in the day, I was able to get one, so I didn't have to spend an arm and a leg for it. But that's how cool Commander Jet and his troopers were. How iconic.
Although the main focus of the campaign was to cripple the droid-making facilities, the Republic needed to retake Geonosis in full to ensure the planet would not have to be taken a third time. For this, they massed the most experienced units into one massive infantry, armor, and air support. As the Jedi and their clone
Not as
officers
much
gathered
if
on
you
the
ask
Resolute
me.
to hear the plan, they prepared some contingencies. If one group hadn't made it to the landing zone, the forces at Point Rain would wait and hold out until they were all gathered to make the push towards the Foundry. With that plan finalized, they would each return to their Venators and board their gunships. The fleet descends into the atmosphere of Geonosis.
I love this
and it
animation.
seems
This is actually
reminiscent
really
to their
amazing.
first battle here. They are instantly bombarded by Geonosian artillery and swarmed by fighters. Skywalker's gunships have a late start and have to fly over an already alerted enemy, taking severe casualties and losing every single AT-TE walker.
Yep.
Along with all the crews and troops aboard, they are hit and forced to crash land. Mundi and Jet soon come under similar withering flak fire and decide to land far from Point Rain to avoid taking any more casualties.
That's
Jet
fair.
advises Cody to get his tanks down as soon as possible. Cody is among the first clones to reach the run.
But you forgot to mention that Ki-Adi-Mundi and Jet's, Lat gunship also got shot down. So
Rendezvous and quickly
they had
realizes
no
that only the
choice.
two
They had no choice but to stop a little bit further because their general got shot down. So I mean, come on.
12th has made it. Even then, Kenobi is still missing. Living up to his reputation, Cody forms a circle with the gunships and walkers and prepares to withstand a full attack from the entire advance of the droid army.
Very smart by
protecting
Cody.
Foundry. His depleted battalion
Such an
will face enemy
amazing.
without
This was such an amazing sequence to watch in the Clone Wars. It was only for like a few minutes, but it was still just amazing. Clone troopers surviving, fighting to the last man, ready to take on all of the droids and Geonosians coming at them.
numbers him more than 20 to 1.
Yeah.
The situation on Geonosis is dire. Skywalker has crashed beyond imposing mountains and fortresses. Mundi does not yet know if there is a path through to Point Rain at all, and Cody is left all alone, coming under a hail of droids, tanks, and Geonosians. Skywalker will face minimal droid resistance on the ground, but would run straight into the fortress that blocks their path into the main canyon that will lead to the Foundry. Skywalker and his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, will rush the guns and take the fortress from the top down, while Rex and his limited number of surviving troops provide covering fire. Seeing them surrounded by droidekas, Rex climbs up the fortress and skillfully
Like a
takes
boss.
out droidekas with his DC-17.
This is why we love Rex,
the
man.
fortress and continue their advance. Mundi and Jet would face tank obstacles which the wounded Mundi had to fell with his lightsaber, but as a fighting force, their battalion was almost useless in open battle. Mundi puts his hope in joining up with Skywalker on the way way to the rendezvous. But trusting in the Force alone is not enough for Commander Jet. He was adamant that Admiral
True.
Yularen send down some fighters to help Cody. Yularen would try to scrape up any spare bombers he could find, but for now the clones on the ground would have no air cover. Meanwhile,
Which kind of blows my mind, because if you go back and watch it, Admiral Yularen says, and I quote, "This is a planetary-wide invasion. All the bombers are occupied." I think not. Because if these are the three main forces that invaded Geonosis, and then, what's her name again? General Luminara was still up in space trying to do something, and like just twiddling her fucking fingers, why couldn't they send out any bombers earlier? There probably wouldn't have been that many casualties to Cody's forces if Admiral Yularen just sent down some fighters. Like, something fishy was going on, you know, if you ask me.
at Point Rain, Cody has seen a gunship go down beyond the rendezvous point. He thinks it's Kenobi, and so sends out Lieutenants Waxer and Boyle to investigate. They
They're
find
lieutenants?
Kenobi and carry him back to the 212th. But Kenobi is seriously wounded, and half the clones under Cody's command are too. The question is, how long can he hold out? Mundi
True.
has by this stage reached a large, imposing ridge. His instincts tell him to head through a cave system, which he hopes will allow him to connect up with Skywalker's forces. Despite Jet having some concerns with the idea, he trusts his commander's instincts. They leave the walkers behind and keep a squad to protect them. The rest of the battalion will advance into the darkness.
So that's
the
what
cave
happened.
is narrow, and there is a strange tension in the air.
Why didn't they just use the walkers to walk up while they were clearing the caves? Kind of a dumb battle strategy from Mundi, if you ask me.
But as they advance and see a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel, dozens of Geonosians attack, blocking them in. Knowing they must reach Kenobi's position, Mundi calls up the flame troopers who have been attached to the Spec Ops battalion, and with the Geneva Convention holding little weight over them, they burn the Geonosians alive.
Yeah.
Still, with no signs of support, Cody is
I mean, who's gonna know besides those troops in the cave? Like, there's no surveillance or anything above them, so technically that war crime didn't happen. So
on the brink. They have been pushed back as far as they can go. Kenobi ignites his lightsaber and prepares to make a last stand with the 212th, but at that moment a squadron of Y-Wings thunders in,
finally,
their proton bombs annihilating the enemy attack. To add to the celebrations, Mundi and Skywalker have met up and are racing to support, and with their swift arrival, the Geonosian attack buckles
yeah.
and is forced to pull back. Despite one of the most disastrous invasions of the war so far, Point Rain is secured.
Definitely. Now, at that moment in time, that's when Luminara and Commander Gree should have came down to reinforce the rest of the troops. But they didn't even come down until the shield generator gets destroyed. Like, are you kidding me? You couldn't have sent down a few extra walkers, a few extra troops just to attack the shield generator? Like, come on. Kenobi describes
With the three
attack at
battalions
Point
now
Rain.
assembled
Okay.
at Point Rain, they can begin their offensive against Poggle S's droid foundry. Protecting this facility is a shield generator array to protect it from orbital bombardment. This must be taken out before they can even get close to the foundry. Anakin and Ahsoka will lead a small team of clones into the shield to distract the Geonosians and temporarily disable their artillery to allow the tanks in. The plan is put into motion as soon as possible. Anakin and Ahsoka leading troops of the 501st in a running battle, some being picked off by the Geonosians and up to half being killed. Eventually they make it to within range of the artillery. They throw droid poppers at them and then order the ATTs to destroy the shield generator. With the shield down, the gunships can come in with their firepower superiority and are able to drive out the Geonosian defenders.
Buckle your belts and check your blaster cells.
With
soldiers.
the immediate
We're
threat
going
of an
in.
attack now gone, the wounded Kenobi and Mundi are able to return to the fleet to heal their wounds. From elsewhere on Geonosis, Luminara Unduli and Commander Gree
Now they
arrive
come
with a
in.
battalion of the 41st
Finally.
Elite Corps. The 41st is a tight-knit and by-the-books unit. Skywalker will now take command of the entire operation against the heavily fortified droid
Yeah,
foundry.
fair.
Skywalker and Unduli will approach the factory in a parade column to distract the Geonosians into thinking they are the only attacking force. Meanwhile, their Padawans, Ahsoka Tano and Barriss Offee, will infiltrate the facility and destroy it from the inside. As the advance begins, the Padawans split off and covertly enter the catacombs under the factory. Meanwhile,
Not my favorite episode during the Battle of Geonosis Part 2, if you ask me. It's like, I get it, their mission was very, very important and deserved screen time, but I would have rather liked to see more of the battle at the top, you know? Would have been more cool.
Skywalker, Unduli, Rex, and Gree come under
biased
a torrent
against
of
the clones,
blaster
alright? I
fire
love
from
the
the
clones.
droids. The garrison of the factory has been bolstered from the factory itself, but they are walking into a trap. The Geonosians will wait until they are far enough in before swarming out of their hives to attack the Republic forces in the rear. This surprise puts the clones on the back foot, but they soon regain their initiative. Seeing this counterattack fail, Pog the Lesser sends out his ultimate battlefield weapon, the brand new Separatist super tanks. Rex orders in the artillery to blast them, but they hold strong. Their raid shields are impenetrable to any Republic weapons. Skywalker orders all the troops back to bait the tanks over the bridge, then destroys the bridge, eliminating all the super tanks. With the bulk of droid and Geonosian
That thing honestly was just very underwhelming, you know? Very anticlimactic seeing these amazing super tanks get taken out that early into the war. Like, I get it. It was part of the mission to destroy pretty much everything. But it's like, you're telling me that Poggle couldn't just send a few tanks out, like, elsewhere to escape or something like that? Or at least the plans, you know? Like those super tanks were really cool, and I would have loved to see them in more battles.
resistance crumbling, the Padawans are able to destroy the factory, and despite being stuck under the rubble, are able to be rescued using the carriers. With his army and droid factories destroyed, Poggle retreats into the wastelands of Geonosis, and is eventually found and taken prisoner by Republic forces. At last, one of the most costly battles of the war is over, and Geonosis is once more in Republic hands.
Yep. only to fall at the hands of the Empire. Completely wiped out. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen Rebels, and if you don't care about seeing Rebels, yeah, the Empire completely wiped out Geonosis. Poggle, anybody on, there was only one Geonosian drone left alive, and then like a random egg he was taking care of. It's like, yeah, Geonosis was wiped off the face of the earth, face of the galaxy, basically.
Thank you very much for watching. If
Thank
could
you for this
subscribe, that'd
video,
be
man.
Much appreciated. I also have a new Discord server, which is very much a work in progress, but you're very much welcome to join. I've been Rhino. Have a
Right.
wonderful week, and I'll see you around.
You as well, Rhino. Appreciate you. All right, troopers.